Hi, it's Hilary Cragg here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful that you watch these videos. Today I'm going to talk about a particular form of forgetting and a particular form of confusion, but it's to do with language skills. Now, people can have problems with their language skills when they develop a dementia. Now, it clinically and within the medical world, it's known as a dysphagia. Now you can have an expressive one, so it's known as expressive dysphagia. Now that means that people really struggle to say the words out to somebody else, and it may be that they've forgotten the words or they've forgotten the order that the words go in. You can have a receptive dysphagia, so that's not being able to understand the information that's coming into you, and often people have with a worse expressive than they do receptive with a dementia. That would be the most common way around, is that they've forgotten the words but they can understand what's being said to them. So receptive dysphagia is struggling to understand the words that are being said to you. And then you can have a generic just overall dysphagia, and then it's just known as dysphagia, and that means that you really struggle with language, whether it's expressive or receptive. Now, when we go through life, this is people with or without a dementia, we have some standard responses that we have. So, for example, people walk down the street, they see an acquaintance, it's not a great friend, and it's not somebody that they want to share lots of secrets with, or lots of personal information, and so that person says to you, "Hi, how are you?" And then the other person says, "I'm fine, how are you?" And they chat for a couple of minutes or seconds, 30 seconds, and then they part and they go their own way. Now, that "Hi, how are you? I'm fine, how are you?" response is quite a learned response. We do that sort of thing all the time. They're quite automatic responses. So another question would be, do you want a cup of tea? Yes or no? And quite often, therefore, when people are being asked questions like that, they will produce this stock response when they have a dementia. So, do you want a cup of tea? Yes. Do you want to get dressed? Yes. Do you want to eat some food? Yes. It doesn't mean that they actually mean yes. It's just that they've got this automatic response. And it's probably not until you bring the cup of tea and see if they drink it that you will actually get the true response. It could be a different word. It could be, "Do you want a cup of tea?" Hello. Do you want something to eat? Hello. Do you want to get dressed? Do you want a bath? Hello. It could be any word. So there's that as a issue to do with language, and you need to understand the reliability of what they're saying, and it's only then when you've got this standard response and you start to test it that you can understand what they really want. Another issue with language is people often say the very last thing that you've said to them. So if you say to them, "Do you want tea or coffee?" because coffee was the last thing, it's the one that they remember. And actually they might want tea, but by the time you've said coffee, they've forgotten about tea. So it's useful, if that's an issue, to say, "Would you like tea?" and wait for a response. And then separately, "Would you like coffee?" and wait for a response. And it can be really difficult to understand what people really want if they've said yes to both tea and coffee, because most people don't like it when it's all mixed in the same drink. Another issue with people with dementia with language is to do with remembering the whole words that go into a sentence. So sometimes they might only have one or two words that are in a sentence, and so they really struggle to have any form of conversation. So, "What would you like for lunch?" There's chicken or there's beef. Now they could say bird, because that's the only word that they could remember again to say what it is that they want, and they might not be able to expressively say what they want, even from those two choices. Quite often pictures are useful, Or if you've just made some food, then actually show them 2 dinners. You know, there's this dinner or there's that dinner. I can just see my cat coming into the video. He's gone away again now. So people really struggle with language, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience to spend with them and really try and actually understand what they're trying to say, because they are communicating, even if it's very challenging. Receptive language problems is about not understanding what's being said to you. So let's get you dressed, let's get you showered, and then we'll take you down for breakfast. Now that's 3 separate things, and it's usually easier to break that down. So starting with, let's get dressed, which means you're wearing pyjamas, those need to come off, and then one by one putting on the pieces of clothing that need to be done. If it's broken down and it's a bit more simple, and it's also supported with some visual clues, that can become easier. But even with support and help and visual clues, some people can still struggle to understand what's being said to them. So simple language, small words, and taking your time can be very useful. There are lots of skills in talking to people with dementia, and it's keeping the ideas as simple as possible. Speaking slowly, speaking clearly, and using small words, simple language, short sentences. I really hope that that video is useful and you found it helpful in talking to people who have language problems. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.